It's not who gets in the first word that counts, but who gets in the last word. Now, the guys that always get in the last word, brothers Tom and Dave.
Hi, I'm Tom Laz.
And I'm little brother Dave Laz.
And welcome to another edition of
The Last Word. Amen.
And
well, big brother Tom, considering that Governor Quinn gave the State of the State message yesterday, and I'm pretty sure that everyone is depressed, like we used to say, the governor has made everyone in this great state what they are today, depressed.
I guess.
So
they wind up probably having to go get a drink, which brings up an interesting story.
Beautiful segue. Do it.
Man walked into a bar and had a couple of beers. Once he's done, the bartender told him, he says, "You owe me $9. He says, "But I paid you. Do you remember?" "All right," said the bartender. "If you said you paid, you did." So the man goes outside and tells the first one he sees that the bartender can't keep track of whether his customers paid or not. So the second guy goes in, orders a beer, and pulls the same stunt. The bartender says, "Well, if you said you paid, I'll take your word for it." So he goes out in the street, sees an old friend, and tells him how to go in and get some free drinks. So he hurries into the bar. The third man begins to drink highballs. Suddenly the bartender leans over and says, "Funny thing happened here tonight. Two guys were drinking beer and neither paid. Both claimed they did. Next guy who tries this is going to get punched right in the nose." "Don't bother me with your troubles," the final patron said. "Just give me my change and I'll be on my way."
That's for you out there to try to bring you up a little bit. And
settle your tummy a little bit.
Take down for considering what's going on over here. And we are proud to have, as our guest today, State Senator Ron Sandack. Welcome to our show.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
And even though we say that we do get the last word, in this case, we're going to be giving you most of the time the last word.
I'm honored. Thanks.
You're welcome. And what is going on right now is Senator Sandack is presently, as we said, a state senator who is running.
The proper English is at present. I told you that. I read Matt Helm, and in one of the episodes, Matt Helm's boss was in hiding, and there was a fake boss in there. And his boss used the term presently when he meant currently.
Did Dean Martin use that?
And Matt Helm knew that it wasn't his boss because his boss was a stickler for proper English. At present means right now. Presently means in a little while.
I'm an American, and I'm going to talk the way I want. That's what freedom of speech is. Freedom of speech is the right to talk the way you cut up the English language.
At present.
At present, state senator. Thank you, Mr. Laz. Older brothers. You want to? I'll go back and get it. But we are here. We will have our brotherly discussions later on about this. We are here today to talk with Senator Sandack, at present state senator, who is actually running as a candidate in the Republican primary in the 81st District, Illinois State Representative. And one of the questions we would have for you, Ron, is you are now a state senator, and you are running now for state representative. How did that come about?
What's up with that?
What's up, Ron?
Yeah, for folks that are listening, probably know that the Democrats control everything that goes on in Springfield.
And have been for a number of years. And as the old Cat Stevens song says, that's why we're in the state we're in.
Quite. And a good segue in a second, Tom. No doubt about it. The fact of the matter is they just drew new maps because of the census, and they drew maps for 10 more years of Republican just irrelevance. Yeah.
Well, that map certainly lacks common sense.
It's irrelevant.
That's all right. There's a lot of those in the circus.
And so what they did is they drew maps that gerrymandered a bunch of Republicans together, me included, with leader Christine Radogno. I currently sit as state senator for the 21st District. The 21st District no longer going forward. I don't live in the neighborhood anymore. So I could either run for the 41st or I could run for the newly created House District 81. And, it became clear to me because I have a job and a family I both like, and I don't have the ability to go full-time campaigning in a new district way outside the bounds of my current district. I decided it was more important for me to serve in any capacity. It didn't make a difference what title I had. It's all about public service.
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to point out about what you're doing, Ron, is this is not a matter of being a power grab. I mean, most people say, well, you're going from state senator down to state representative, down, quote unquote. But service is service, no matter how you give it. And I would just like to say that I like the idea that you're saying I'm willing to serve in what capacity I feel I can best fit in.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Going to the representative chamber. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the new? I have the map up, and let's give people your website, which includes the map. It's www.ron4illinois.com.
Right, it's Ron4, the number 4, Illinois.com. Pretty cool interactive website, and on it, Dave's got it on right now. You'll see that crazy configuration of a map, and it looks like someone had a little bit too much to drink. It may have been the guy Tom was talking about at the bar who was waiting for his change, because it's just very odd
you've got a little bit of Bolingbrook.
I have a
Woodridge.
Yes, Darien, Westmont, unincorporated Lisle, a little bit of Lisle, a lot of Downers Grove. And that's your 81st newly created House district. Yeah.
Sometime a wee bit of Naperville.
A wee bit of Naperville. That's right.
A wee bit of Naperville.
A wee bit of Naperville.
And I love the way the map has this for some stupid reason. And I use the word stupid. You got Bolingbrook Drive. You got Royce Road, Bolingbrook Drive, all the way up to near your northern boundary of what's below you. I think. The other district has got this big tongue, this big U shape that just
it's an empty space.
It's an empty space.
It's crazy. And again, it's on the website, www.ron4illinois.com, and you can check the map and see if you're in the district.
Right.
Because you wouldn't know otherwise.
No, that's right. So tell us now, the magic question we always ask is, Ron Sandack, why should the people of the 81st District vote for you?
Real easy. In my short tenure in Springfield thus far, and in my 4 years prior thereto as mayor, I have been I've been a difference maker. I have taken risk, not for political expediency, but rather for public policy betterment. During my term as mayor, we did some really cool things. We actually reduced the footprint of village government. We got services done better being smaller. During my tenure in Springfield, I've done crazy things like decline the legislative pension and health care benefits. I've done crazy things like put a bill in to get rid of legislative pensions. I've done crazy things like seek term limits. I'm going to continue to do certain things that I think are in the betterment of the district, the state, and hopefully be part of a turnaround effort, a rebuilding and restructuring effort that will reduce state government's footprint, focus state government like a laser on those core services it should be providing, and stay out of other business areas and let business and people and freedom prosper. And I suspect if we go back to old-fashioned governing, which is less governing, things can turn around in the state.
It sounds like we can get Tom. It sounds like we can get Tom Ramsell in here to do a vote for Crazy Ron.
Whoa! Hey,
Crazy Ron will keep money in your pocket.
Crazy Ron was trying to do all that and more. That's right.
Yeah, well, it's tough for Crazy Ron to do it when the state's run by Democrats. Okay, let's.
Well, look at I was listening the other day to Pat Quinn's State of the Union or State of the State, and I caught that part where he says, we're going to have to be making some tough decisions, and you're going to have some guts to make these tough calls. And I thought to myself, good. What he's talking about, silly me, that he was talking about having to say, we can't provide this, we have to cut this, and we have to cut that. It turns out he's talking about saying that the tough vote is going to be to raise taxes so that you can spend.
Yeah, I was sitting there yesterday with my colleagues, both in the House and the Senate, listening to the governor, who spent, 30 seconds talking about the real state of the state, i.e., our economic and fiscal condition.
That's why you're here. We want here, Ron. Give us the real state of the state.
We will. I will be happy to. But to Tom's point, what he was talking about, sacrifice, I think, was all about raising new revenues and expanding the size and footprint of state government.
Yeah, the people sacrificing.
Yeah, it's a tough vote for me. It's not going to happen. But a complete denial of reality and a huge disconnect, a canyon-wide disconnect between reality and Quinn Fantasyland, which is unfortunate because he's the chief executive officer
of the state of
Illinois. And he seems to have the least amount of understanding about his fiscal reality.
I want to get back. The one thing, Tom, that you brought up as we were discussing before, Ron, that we'd like you to address is apparently he wants to expand education, which on the surface sounds like a good idea. But, Tom, you were talking about what does it take to expand education?
Well, let's see. You have kids who are dropping out, and now he wants to make it mandatory that kids stay until they're 18.
Yes.
So what you're going to do is you're going to have more kids in school longer.
Right.
Which strikes me as more teachers, more staff, more people to be part of unions. And where does all that money come from? It's not coming from Pat Quinn's pocket.
It's not coming from that nebulous government.
No.
It's coming from
you people.
It's coming out of your pocket. They want to take it out of your pocket, so get ready to open up, right, Ron? Get ready
That's right.
open up your wallet again. Count the dollar bills that you have in your wallet, and
Because you
remember,
won't have them too much longer if Pat Quinn has his way.
and the Democrats. So let's say Pat Quinn and the Democrats in control of the legislature. And we are here with State Senator Ron Sandack. We'll be back after this short break here at WIND 560 AM Chicago.
Now, back to the show with the brothers that always have the last word, Tom and Dave.
Well, welcome back here to the last word with a little and smarter brother Dave and a big brother Tom. And we are here with State Senator Ron Sandack, who is a candidate for state representative in the new 81st Illinois Legislative District. Website, www.ron4illinois.com. And we're talking about the state of the state and Governor Quinn's message of optimism that he delivered yesterday.
Candide.
Yeah, Candide, yeah.
For those who don't remember Voltaire with Candide or optimism.
Oui. Was Voltaire's French, right? Oui? Oui. Well, Ron, tell us a little bit about more of what you heard in the State of the State speech, of the governor that probably is going to turn our stomachs.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny? It was totally disconnected from reality. What they did right before everyone sat down and they introduced the governor walking into the House, his aides handed out a written...
Dum, dum,
Yeah.
dum, 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 dum.
That would have been better music. It was a little more inspirational music. But what they handed out a speech, and so I got to thumb through it before listening to it, and I was stunned by quickly perusing it that there didn't seem to be any numbers in it. There was no fiscal reality. And of course, true to form, the governor reiterated a bunch of inspirational, aspirational, uplifting, and very motivational platitudes.
Platitudes,
That's it. They were pure platitudes.
Buzzwords.
Platypus instead of platitudes, as far as I'm concerned. But we'll go on from there.
Yeah, they were platitudes. And he spent almost no time talking about the real condition of the state. So it was the state of his imaginary state rather than the state of Illinois. He was talking about how Illinois is moving forward, how Illinois is, gaining on others with respect to employment opportunities, putting people back to work. He talked about Ford and Chrysler building new cars in Illinois, and gave short thrift to everything else having to do with the realities that are Illinois government and its fiscal condition.
What did the State of the State say about Medicaid costs?
He did mention that they're going up. He didn't say by how much,
I
and he
see.
didn't say that we basically have an insolvent system. He neglected to mention that reality. As you gentlemen know, because you got your thumb on the pulse of everything that goes on in the state, Medicaid has expanded almost threefold in a very short period of time. It is the largest portion of the state's budget, and it's expected to continue to grow.
Now, Medicaid covers who?
Well, a very good question, Tom. A penetrating question, and I don't know that I have enough time to tell you what it's supposed to cover versus what it's actually covering. The size and expanse of the program has gotten out of control. And I think in many instances it was good intentions, but of course, you know what the road.
Yeah,
that's
we
right.
get on that road.
Yeah. The road to insolvency is paved with good intentions.
There you go. Well put, Dave. The road to insolvency is paved with good intentions.
No copyright.
Particularly in Springfield. So the eligibility requirements of Medicaid has gotten out of control.
Do you have to be what happens if you're not here legitimately? You still get Medicaid?
You can. And in fact, the former Governor Blagojevich's expansion of one program, All Kids, which is a Medicaid program, actually doesn't even require that you be an Illinois resident. And so many folks from Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa Missouri border towns have found a great way to get a great benefit without having to pay for it. There is, by almost every reasonable person's estimate, just a tranche of fraud available to cut out of that program.
But why would the Democrats even allow that?
Because I'm going to be a skeptical, nasty, cynic guy now, right? You ready?
No.
I'm ready.
Because their voting base are recipients of the program, many times and mostly legitimately, but that's a voting-based program and an entitlement that they cannot afford to pull back.
Please, I don't
like
out-of-state people.
I don't like the word entitlement. So why can't we just take a simple piece of legislation and amend Medicaid and say
Tom, we did.
Medicaid only will cover those residents of Illinois, period.
Tom, we did something just like that in the last legislative session, and it actually received, I think, complete unanimous support, and the Obama administration pushed it back. Here's the giant reformative thing we did in the last session. Ready?
Ready.
2 proof of payments that you meet eligibility requirements financially, and a proof that you're a citizen of the great state of Illinois.
Citizen or resident?
Resident. Excuse me. Resident.
Okay.
Because people can live in Florida, but they reside, their domicile in Illinois.
No, I'm trying to.
You're exactly right.
I'm trying to get rid of the illegals.
And it pushed, but this pushed back. This pushed back. So this got pushed back by the administration. The Obama administration said this would basically, they weren't going to accept it for purposes of matching federal dollars into the program, which of course is, a big deal. So the bottom line here is, if we just took Illinois eligibility benefits and put them in the middle of the pack as compared to the other states in the country, we'd save $1 billion a year. $1 billion a year.
$1 billion.
If our eligibility was just the median eligibility requirements, just dead bang in the middle.
Now, it's kind of fun. I mentioned this when we had our guests. I told you we had Senator Ramey and Senator Dillard on.
Sure.
And it just so funny how all of a sudden that billion starts being used.
Everett Dirksen, right? Wasn't it him?
A billion here, a billion there.
Yeah, but to me, it's. But when you're talking about a $33 billion annual general fund budget for the state, and Medicaid keeps growing, pension liabilities keep growing, we just can't keep growing the budget, right? But they're elbowing out room for human services, needed human services. They're elbowing out room for legitimate education expense, legitimate transportation. And pretty soon we're going to be a state budget that's comprised wholly of benefits. I won't say entitlements.
Now, we as a state, we as a state are mandated to, quote unquote, by law we balance the budget. By law. Now,
it's in our Constitution.
It's in our Constitution. But
we don't do that.
Do we borrow? Do we borrow to balance?
Do we borrow? Here, I'll give you the yes. We didn't this year. That's the good news. But over the last umpteen years, and this goes back, and I want to make sure I'm super critical of everyone. This is a Republican issue too. We've had Republican legislators and governors who have taken the borrowing nugget and expanded it. Now, not nearly as bad as our friends on the other side of the aisle who have made an art of it and wish to use borrowing to pay operating expense, kind of like, I don't know, using a credit card to pay your credit card bill. Okay? So they've made an art out of it. But the bottom line here is our bonded indebtedness, our unfunded pension liabilities, and the backlog of bills, which are in the B word too, we're almost at $200 billion of obligations.
Let's sell the governor's mansion.
Yeah, you should see the condition of it.
Let's sell the state capitol.
We're getting somewhere there.
No.
No? What?
No. Naming
the Thompson
rights.
Building.
We can make it the
naming rights.
Pepsi-Cola or the
Pepsi-Cola State Capitol.
Brought to you by Mountain Dew.
That's right.
Sure. That's got a lot of allure to it and sure gives it the pomp.
Yeah, could you imagine on the top of the state capitol, on the dome?
I got it. How many people on the Illinois Supreme Court?
There's seven? There's 9 in the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah.
7. The 7-Up Supreme Court building.
No, I want to see from the outside of the state capitol dome, on the dome itself, each of the, between each of the major divisions of the, you put different ads on there, and you sell space like that. You can see it from the airplanes flying overhead.
As
we got something going over here.
As outrageous as that sounds,
Maybe. Crazy Ron? You want
I'm not going to propose it.
Crazy.
But yeah, I'm not going to propose it.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you didn't.
No. It's a last word concept. We're going to start selling.
Call your state senator, state reps. Tell them to start selling space. I would love to cover up the state of Illinois building. I'm sorry, but that's
it's already corrupted. You're late.
No, cover it up. I want to cover it up to make it look different. But if I want to come and do work for the state, if I want to come to the state to get a contract,
right,
to do work, I'm a private. Now, I'm not talking about being government. And I want to come and say, I want a contract from the state of Illinois. What's my chances of getting paid?
In this century? Pretty good.
Okay. Well, how about within 30 days?
We're going to pay you on layaway. You have to provide the service, but we pay you on a deferred basis. Right now, we have medical care, nursing homes. We have vendors of every kind and assortment that have been, forget 60, 90, 120. We're talking 180 is quick pay. We have we have nursing homes that have closed because they just can't pay their bills. And, if you can't pay your bills, can't pay your bills.
Yeah, I heard that. I think I mentioned this last time with Randy that we have some lottery winners that even have gone a little forsaken for a while getting paid because of the state's condition.
You believe that?
No.
Well, we're at the bottom of the hour.
We're going to have a
little bit of news,
tell you what's going on in the
traffic.
world. And
Come back with State Senator Ron Sandack, WIND 560 AM in the great state of Illinois.
They're lawyers, so you know they'll always have the last word. Here's Tom and Dave.
Welcome back. Now that you've found out what's going on in the world, let's get back to the state of Illinois.
And let's get back to our guest, State Senator Ron Sandack, running for state representative, 81st Legislative Representative District. www.ron4illinois.com. It is his website. And we talked about some of the problems that the state is facing. And we have to talk about solutions. And you have the 5 to Revive plan.
Yeah.
And that covers making Illinois job friendly, having a lean government, having ethics reform, fiscal prudence, and transparent government. And you can go on, Ron, we're going to ask you to explain a little bit of that for our listeners, but you can certainly go on his website and also check out his explanations as to what he's going to do. So let's start out with this outrageous idea of this crazy idea of yours of making Illinois a job-friendly environment.
It is crazy. Real simple stuff. As you guys know, employment opportunities require employers. And in the last couple of years, we've seen businesses leave our state, and very rarely have we seen new businesses come in. Right now, we're seeing an exodus of talented businesses, and of course, people will follow jobs. So we can't be on an outward bound movement. We've got to find a way to make this state what it once was, a great place to do business.
And you know what's bad? When you have to pay, I think we did it with Sears, right?
I voted no on that, but that's right.
But the problem is when you got to start, I'm using this word very loosely, bribing, okay? When you have to start bribing people to stay in the state.
It's a problem.
As opposed to moving out. It's not even a matter of getting a new company to come into the state and say, we'll give you these tax breaks, we'll do this to bring you in. We're saying we're going to do something special.
Please
stay.
Right.
That's pretty bad.
It's desperate, and it's terrible policy making, because you know what's happening right now. After the CME and Sears bill, every major corporation in Illinois, they're going to send their lobbyists down with an edict to come back with a tax break.
From the old Mike Royko Latin motto.
Ubi es mea.
There we go. Everybody got that.
Where's mine?
Where is mine is exactly right. And we have to stop that from a policy-making perspective, from a fairness perspective, and also from a stability perspective. The best thing we can do is roll back that tax increase on business, roll it back another quarter point, and start making a level playing field appear. When that happens, business knows we're a stable state. They situate, they come, and people get jobs. And isn't that what we want? We want people working. We want to expand our tax base by making more taxpayers rather than taking more from a dwindling pot.
And,
that's it.
And the thing is that that's the problem. The problem I think is the Democrats face is that everything is a zero-sum gain.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to an expansion.
That's exactly
As
it.
opposed to expanding productivity so the pot itself grows and more people can jump into the pot without having to cut up the pie and what's there already.
Exactly right.
And so, some of that problem is like one of the things that you cite is that there must be gobs of unnecessary regulations.
We know
must
that,
be
right?
nightmares,
We
just
know that
nightmares.
there's local, county, township, state rules that flood each other. We've got to find a way to make getting into business easy. And, one of the suggestions I made was an office of the repealer. An office of the repealer is not an idea I came up with. It's entirely stolen from Sam Brownback in Kansas, which said, for every law you guys want to put in place, you got to repeal 2. So if you want to put a new tax or a new anything out there, I want 2 back. And from my perspective, it was focused solely on the business community to get rid of redundancies that make impediments for folks that want to start a business and hire someone.
Well, I'll go back a number of years in the early 70s. When you used to look at what was then the Illinois Revised Statutes,
Right.
it was 3 volumes.
Yeah, the compiled statutes are compiled.
No, and I'm not talking about the annoteds with all the
Right.
cases, but now it's just so many more